He's likely to be exiled from New York.
Did someone say exile? Welcome. This is where all the happy people are. Woke District Attorney Alvin Bragg is coming after Trump. Trump complains it took Alvin Bragg too long to charge him. Welcome to An Exile. I'm Doug TenNapel, your host. Here's MSNBC Mika Brzezinski, who's always had the biggest crush on Trump.
Donald Trump's legal team working overtime to delay or dismiss several ongoing legal battles involving the former president.
And then here's the rest of that article. It's written by Jordan Rubin, who's a leftist. Before Donald Trump was charged in Manhattan State Court earlier this year, his first 4 criminal cases, people who wanted him prosecuted were wondering what was taking so long. Now Trump's lawyers argue the alleged delay violates his rights. This is key because this whole lawsuit is about timing. It is not about what goes on in the courtroom. It's that it happened after Trump ran for office.
In New York City, the Trump team filed to have his case dismissed regarding the falsifying of business records, the one related to hush money payments involving adult film actress Stormy Daniels. They argued prosecutors waited too long to bring their case.
It was like 6 or 8 years after Stormy Daniels, which proves motive. I've said this all along. This is why this case is going to get thrown out, because in the end, it's going to be shown that Alvin Bragg has no interest in justice in New York. He lets criminals go all the time. And then he raises up and tries to make Trump into a criminal over a petty crime of his payout money to Stormy Daniels. Quote, the delay has prejudiced President Trump, interfered with his ongoing presidential campaign, and violated his due process rights, the former president's lawyers wrote in a recent notion. And then here's Larry Kudlow interviewed his lawyer, where they pin it all down to starting with, this is Alvin Bragg did this.
Tax valuations. Oh, wait a minute. The issue is left-wing judges versus Trump and a left-wing attorney general versus Trump. Joining me here is Trump attorney Alina Habba, who...
We'll get to Alina Habba's quote in just a minute. Here's the rest of the article. Raised several issues seeking to kill the case ahead of trial. Trump was charged more than 6 years after public reporting regarding the facts at the issue. 6 years after, and almost 5 years after commencing a grand jury investigation and accessing substantially all of the relevant evidence, they wrote. So all of the evidence came out. It's been 6 years. The only thing that's happened is Trump ran for office, so they grasped at straws, found this, and said, this might be how we can keep him off the ballot. Quote, New York courts have recognized the right to prompt prosecution. Really, is 6 years prompt? Obviously, no one ever wants to be charged, but prosecutors can't just sit on evidence without good reason. And they sat on evidence with no good reason. That's not what they were doing. They had abandoned this case. They picked it back up with bad reason when Trump ran for office. Call them out on it and share this episode with your friends. For example, in an appeal decided earlier this year, the state's highest court said due process was violated when prosecutors took over 4 years to bring charges. This is in the case of People versus Reagan. They said it was too long after 4 years under Bragg, and he lost that one. This one is 6 to 8 years over. To overcome Trump's claim, Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg may need to explain, among other things, why the charges were brought when they were, relative to when the DA's office learned of the facts it used to bring those charges. Why did he bring it? He's going to have to explain. And when he does, it's going to be anything but the real reason, which is because Trump ran for office. Here's Trump's lawyer on Larry Kudlow.
They're accountants, but what happens? The attorney general goes and starts investigating them, freaks them out, tells them that we're going to bring SEC violation, whatever it is, and then they freak out and desist. It's what we've seen happen. The DA, the AGs working together in New York.
This is about Alvin Bragg, how they shake down witnesses, testimony. This specifically is the new one about Trump, but it goes all the way back to what DA Alvin Bragg did, and they're all working, they're all colluding with each other. Here's where she says that it started with Alvin Bragg.
We've seen this happen. Don't forget, this started with Bragg. He didn't bring the case, and then we have this attorney general, and frankly, the case, in my opinion, is falling apart.
It's falling apart.
All right, falling apart.
Case is falling apart because it's just a political witch hunt. I'm Doug in exile.